Hi, I'm Judy.
And I'm Tamara.
Welcome to Balance Not Boring, the wellness podcast that's not about extremes or perfection.
Just real conversations on balancing your mind, body, and soul in our bustling city of Dubai.
So grab your tea and get comfy with us.
Oh, and fair warning, you will learn something. Welcome, Alexandra. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be asked and join you guys.
Of course. Well, we're going to introduce our guest on the show for our listeners. We're so excited to have Alexandra Venison on the show with us today. She's the founder of Beautilist, a conscious platform that explores beauty, wellness, and everything in between. She's written for Vogue, interviewed icons like Lady Gaga and J-Lo, and was Vogue Arabia's first ever beauty editor. But what's even more inspiring is how she's evolved from working in the glossy world of fashion to now creating healing experiences through sound, meditation, and coaching. It's a journey of shifting gears, going inward, and letting herself change fully and unapologetically. I love it.
So in today's episode, we will talk about what it means to outgrow your career, how scary, but also how freeing it can be to start over, and why Alexandra believes beauty starts way deeper than we've been taught. And overall, we want you to just share your experience on really how you found your calling and what you feel like, how you were certain about what you were meant to do. Because of course, shifting big, 360 gears is scary, but maybe it feels more, you feel more at peace. And we'd love to hear kind of how you went through that whole process.
So I was very lucky that I was hyper focused on what I wanted to do from a young age. I always wanted to work for Vogue. I used to walk around with the glossy magazine, and I used to be obsessed with all of Grace Coddington's shoots that came out. So when I moved to Dubai, I was interning with everyone, photographers, magazines, model agencies, to really understand the industry. And then went to London College of Fashion and just fell in love with it even more. And I did broadcast journalism. So at the time, it was that little bit of a shift where video was coming in a lot more and we were going online, which seems completely crazy now that social media, I think Instagram only really began to exist in my last few years of uni, which was great from like a personal perspective, but having to develop and grow within that industry as well, like how magazines and editorials shifted so quickly from like being this big. What I expected I would be doing completely changed. So I was super lucky on the day I graduated. I got offered a job with Emirates Women, moved back to Dubai, and then fashion and beauty, like as a junior, and went on all the shoots again and was helping. And then just really got drawn to the world of beauty because I loved fashion, but there was something so romantic about the world of beauty. And you had the romantic side in terms of like fragrance and the storytelling there. And then you had the scientific side with skincare where you were constantly learning. So I loved that balanced beauty. So then I moved to a magazine called Viva Magazine, was there for a few years and had a fantastic time. And then I was Harper's online editor, which was a much more fast pace. That was when online was really kicking off. And then I got an email from Vogue saying that they had the position as a beauty editor and would I like to come in and have a chat. It was just a mind-boggling moment of everything's kind of come together.
I feel like that's almost like an example of manifestation in a way, just because you as a child you said have vision boards and articles clipped out and that you just were like fantasizing about it. Not even maybe necessarily saying that will be me, but just admiring it. And then you just somehow, you did put in the work, but you ended up they approached you. You didn't have to like stress and find that opportunity. So sometimes they say when it's meant for you, it kind of flows to you easily because you were on the right frequency or path at the time that it was your time, like the right timing, you put in the work, it was perfect time. So
I completely believe in that. You've put it perfectly there.
Oh, wow, I tried.
No, you just have to flow. And
yes.
Like you have bad days where you're not trusting in yourself and, but the universe does have a plan for you, whether you sort of believe in, that side of spiritual side of things or not.
Energy.
Like, it is. Everything is energy.
Everything is energy.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you got that email? What were your feelings? Were you shocked?
I think it was in my personal email. So I hadn't seen it for like 3 days and I was at my parents' house and I just remember like screaming. I was like, oh my gosh. like, Mom, Dad, and like running around and going, this is the most exciting thing, because it was everything I'd worked for from a young age. And the fact that it kind of happened the way it happened made it even more special. And to get to be the first beauty editor and working was, helping to create what that magazine, what the beauty section of that magazine felt like was really, really special. And working with such a fantastic team, it was,
I'm sure
everything I'd wished for.
How was it in terms of fashion? In the UK is different than fashion here. So the fashion that you grew up with when you were younger, maybe surprised a little at maybe how fashion was different here, or were you open to all these changes? How did you manage the different fashion styles from the UK that you were used to versus the ones in the Middle East and in the region?
I think because we moved here when we were so young. So I think we moved here when we were 11. So we kind of, like, I'm a Dubai baby. So I do love modesty, if I'm honest. And my mum's always been the most elegant dresser. And so I found it really, I love it. I think I even did my dissertation on the evolution of the abaya. So it was when all there was a lot of abaya designers, and it was just unbelievable what they were producing. And then they were inspiring a lot of people globally. So I think because I've lived here for so long, I've just been part of this. And I mean, it's the elegance and like, it's like nothing else in the world. It's sometimes the Western view as well of the Middle East sometimes annoys me a little bit, because I'm like, often women in this region get so boxed and it's so individual. Like even as Vogue Arabia, it's like having a Vogue Europe, because, you know, Saudi is so different to Kuwait, is so different to Dubai, is so different to Abu Dhabi. Like everyone has their own personalities and vibes. So,
and you have to obviously in your role constantly think about those things when you write, when you interview, when you plan out. So you have to be open to all the cultures that you're surrounded by. And as we know, Dubai is super diverse. And I'm also curious on that note, how, when you came into Vogue, what was your vision in the beauty sphere? So you obviously got to contribute. I'm sure you tried to maybe look at it in your own way, like you were telling us before the interview. So would love for you to shed light on kind of your angle on beauty and just what you were hoping to see evolve.
I think when I went into beauty, like when I first kicked off my career, it really was about glamour, and it was about excess, and it was about
the
creating.
2000s.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and I loved it. And I think the world has changed so much, and I don't know, maybe it's getting a bit older as well. We're a lot more mindful, and I think the world is so crazy now that we need to ground, and beauty should be a space for women to ground in, not a space where we're constantly trying to be something different or we feel so much pressure. So I love, and also it's not boxing it into just one thing. You still have space for incredible marketing and over the top and art. Like that's one thing with Vogue. I had 12 beauty shoots a year, which is nothing compared to like the incredible talent out there and all the people I wanted to work with. But some of the shoots were art. They weren't trying to create a beauty standard. It was literally just showing how far we could push makeup, how far we could push photography and lighting and create something spectacular and new. And then there was the other side of also showcasing something that was wearable and that someone could create at home. So I think the industry keeps trying to box things and everyone has their opinion on it, but we need to be open and a bit more fluid and appreciate certain things for what they are.
And how did you feel in that high pressure space? Because I've worked in marketing and fashion as well in the past, and beauty actually. And we have a similar background where we shifted now more of the wellness. So I'm curious, how did you as an individual, having these two parts of you, feel in that work environment? Like not necessarily Vogue, but your whole experiences. Did you ever feel a little bit out of place, or that you thought differently in terms of what beauty should be or what beauty meant to you? How was that for you?
Yeah, I think it shifted with the times and it shifted with age. And also me as a person, I did reflect on, because editors work, as much as it looks like a really fancy, lovely job, I think editors work incredibly hard. They're traveling a lot. Like people used to be like, well, you're flying business class around the world. And I was like, but I'm sleeping on the plane. Like I would much rather be in my own. It sounds really spoiled, and I know you get really tired and you're doing it for the passion. Like it's not notoriously the most well-paid job or anything like that. You're doing it for the passion. And so I think you have these incredible experiences, but I kind of took a step back and I was like, what actually really makes me happy? Is it staying in the best hotels? Is it this? Is it that? And it wasn't. I wanted to ground myself more, and I wanted to have like a bit more power over like my everyday. I think a massive side of it as well, which was a massive what dictated the change as well, is I have very bad endometriosis. So this process of going to an office every single day and hiding pain, which at that time was like easily 50%, if not more, of the month, that also was a massive shift. And it's just, I don't think a woman's body is made to be in an office and have to go at like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and sit in a chair. And it wasn't conducive to really good work and you know, getting inspiration.
We
and
spoke
stuff.
about
So,
this actually. Like
yeah.
we're running off of men's circadian rhythms,
Literally,
basically. Like they operate
exactly.
like a structured 9 to 5, and we have cycles, we fluctuate, we have needs. I mean, we're also just being in the cold air in the cubicles is not good for women.
Cold air, but like I used to have a spotlight above my head which would give me crazy migraines.
Oh.
And I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, oh my gosh, how many sick days have I had? I can't have another one. So
The situation that we're in right now is we're not in a natural environment. As much as we would love to be around the world and globally, we're just not in a natural environment. And at some point, it is going to catch up with you. And at some point, you are going to feel what I like to call, I don't know if that's what happened to you, an outer body experience where you start to rethink everything that you're in currently. No matter, you're blessed and you're grateful, of course.
100%. Yeah.
But there is also a much larger, I'm going to put quote unquote issue at hand, which is, you know, going inward and trying to find what works for you. I mean, you have your dream job, you're traveling business class, you're interviewing celebrities, you're doing what you love best, and you've manifested this your whole life. So what was that change that happened within you that was like, okay, I need to step back?
So I was writing some incredible articles about healers. So again, so lucky to get to go try all these different modalities as part of work. And I did crystal healing, acupuncture, everything. And one that I tried was hypnotherapy. And it absolutely blew me away how incredible it was in regards to de-stressing. That's what I went in for, but there's countless things that you can use hypnotherapy for. And so I was like, I want to learn more about this, because also at the time I was doing so many interviews and wellness was just sort of kicking off and getting more in the mainstream, like oh my gosh, no, it isn't. It's like 6 years ago. Time absolutely flies. And I was being told a lot by people and I didn't know who to trust. And as much as you can do your research and do your background, I was like, I need to become more of an expert in this field. And in order to do it, I decided to, first I did integrative nutrition, which is a fantastic course, even just for learning about yourself. So again, with the endometriosis, I wanted to learn how to get rid of inflammation in my body and that side of things. So I would be doing my full-time job, and then at night I would go home and study, but absolutely loved it. And that opened up this whole new world for me. I didn't realize that could be a job. I think it's so interesting for kids growing up that they get boxed into all these jobs. They don't realize, like, by doing biology, it pushes you into the world of nutrition, and then nutrition, where that can take you. So I did integrative nutrition course. I did a hypnotherapy course, and then I absolutely loved it. So when I resigned, the aim was to launch this platform. And I had amazing ideas of coaching that I wanted to do on the side, because I love hypnotherapy, but I'm very much an empath. So if someone tells me their problems, I'm going to cry with you. Like, I'm not a very good therapist where I will sit there and listen to you about, like, say your dog dies. I'll be on the floor crying with you.
Just join in with you. I think being an empath, which us three, we always say in every episode somehow that we're empaths, it takes a really, really heavy skill to learn, to be able to shut other people's energy out and not let it absorb into you. And that's like something I think not overnight. I don't care how many books you read, who you talk to. This is a life skill that you learn. And I'm with you there. So I think when you at least realize that you'd love to help people and you're a good listener and you have the hypnotherapy kind of skills in your book, but maybe it's not for you to sit and absorb that because you're not ready yet to do that.
Absolutely.
And that's totally fair. Not everyone's meant to do that.
No, and I think as I'm getting older, I know how to process it. And as you have more life lessons, it makes you a better therapist or a better understand. It's like being a mother, right? Like you learn so much as you go on and you can compartmentalize it a lot more. So that's how I discovered meditation, which just completely blew my mind, completely fell in love with it.
So what kind is it? This?
No, but everyone can do meditation.
Yes.
And it takes us down a whole other rabbit hole of the wellness industry is meant to be so open and meant to be helping everyone. But in actual fact, I find that it's turning people away and it's not accessible. So with meditation, it's amazing if you're on a yogi journey and you have a year to go away and sit in a beautiful tropical rainforest and not think about anything and practice it every day. But if you're a working person in a busy city like this and you can only practice it every so often, if someone turns around and says, well, you need to sit there for 60 minutes in the lotus position, and that's what meditation is.
I wanted to just speak about this meditation because you had come from such a fast-paced environment.
Yeah.
Like, 12 shoots a year, even if it's nothing compared to whatever the rest of the world is doing, it's still a lot of energy for one shoot. And you're still traveling around the world.
12 shoots a year, traveling, whole beauty section, 2 online features a day.
It's
social media,
it's
events.
A lot. So why didn't you just choose traditional therapy, for example? How did you get into specifically yoga nidra and you decided to go into integrative nutrition? Because most people, especially our listeners, they would probably opt for, traditional therapy. I mean, that's how if you asked me years ago, that's what I would have done. We're just so curious that how did you manage to navigate and just step away from traditional therapy in that sense and be like, okay, no, there are other modalities of healing. Let me explore those.
I think it was really honestly being an editor and being so lucky that was my job to research and go deep into it and meeting all of these incredible healers. Traditional therapy is absolutely so important. And there's definitely people that I speak to that I'm like, you need a therapist.
Most of humankind.
No, I think everyone needs therapy.
Like ideally.
But the issue with healing and therapy as well is it's incredibly expensive. So again, it's that thing about the wellness industry where usually when you need help, it's when you're at your lowest. So that means you might not have money, you might not have time, you might not actually want to speak to just someone one-on-one at that time because it's very intense, especially for men as well. Like I know a lot of men struggle to get help in that sense. And I have friends that have finally done it and taken the plunge because we've been late night talking with them and the girls have all opened up to them and it's the best thing they've done. So I think things like group health coaching, things like group meditation sessions, they're a great starter point, but it's finding the right therapist for you and finding a therapist that isn't pushing it at like a HIIT class. Go in easy, start with like a gentle pace, a gentle walk. And that's why wellness now, the way it's growing is fantastic because it's opening up a lot more and a lot of people are creating different modalities in it. So as an example, when we were just talking about meditation is if you're cooking, that's a form of meditation. If that's where you literally shut off your brain and you're focusing on something else, our brains are focused on 100 things these days. Our attention span is so short.
It's just, it's been primed from how we operate. The phone, the screen.
I think statistically it's 3 seconds on an Instagram reel.
Yeah.
Or else you lose
3
them.
seconds to catch the person's attention or else it's done.
But it's getting worse and worse, like with all these visual effects and TikTok being even more of a norm. Like people
AI.
are now having the opportunity to become creators, which is also amazing. But that's causing more and more like fractions of stress of like, okay, then this person's becoming more, popular this way, and like I have to do it this way, and this stress of just trying to pull people to give you attention, that at the end of the day is stressful on its own. How can I just be real on Instagram or social media and just not have to think about, is this going to attract people?
Well, it's
all
like
about
we're
that
all
now.
forced to perform now, and it's this high energy, and that's why none of us are grounding, and we all feel stressed all the time, and we're like this. And so you can compare it to editorial, where you can write a beautiful feature, but we went through this whole stage of where you needed clickbait to get people to click through to it. So, I mean, I don't think we're ever going to get away from it, but it's us deciding to do a little change and not having to change the entire world, but we could just make that one little change and help our community.
How did that, in terms of moving into, different modalities of healing and therapy, you were known and still are to an extent as a beauty editor. And that is what you started with and what you're continuing with now with Beautilist. That is part of your identity. How did it feel to add another section to your identity? I mentioned earlier in one episode that your life is like a pie. So you're Alexandra. Then Alexandra meets boy.
Yeah.
And then you either start a family. So your pie gets shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
And then you have new identities, new roles, new things that you work with in your day-to-day life. And it'll be ever evolving. How was that shift for you from adding these therapeutic modalities to your day-to-day life?
I think it's been a slow burn. So when I first went out as a freelancer, the aim was to launch this platform, and that was 3.5 years ago, which just seems insane. But I don't ever look back at that time like I did for a bit. I kind of looked at it as a failure, and why didn't I get it up sooner? But I've looked at the way everything I've learned from. So I think we're so pressurized to get things done so quickly. And because you're only seeing everyone's highlights on Instagram, most people take years and years and years to get things done, but it just seems like they did it yesterday. So it's really just kind of trying not to compare myself to anyone else, knowing that if we look at the pie of life, there's a slice for everyone. Like, I think a lot of people are getting very competitive and, they've done this. And we should all come together a bit more and support each other a bit more and be honest and share our journeys. And yeah, there's a bit of pie for everyone. But for me, my pie is getting smaller, but at the same time, I'm just cutting the slices up a bit. And I think I'm still very much in the exploration stage. So for me as well, I was lucky that each course I did kind of went on to the next. So I kind of realized, okay, I like the health coaching, but I don't like this full way of doing it. How can I find myself in this? Then I went into the hypnotherapy and went, okay, I absolutely love the healing aspect. I love the storytelling. I might come back to this at a later life, but right now it's not serving me. What can I do? Found meditation. Within meditation, I did a huge course, so I tried everything. What really I was drawn to was the yoga nidra side, which for anyone that doesn't know, it's yogic sleep. So you work with between the conscious and the subconscious brain. It's beautiful because you just if you're doing it, you just get to lie there on a mat and it's like a guided meditation, and it's incredibly powerful. And you find an intention in each session, and it's healing without you having to do any work, and it goes for weeks. Like when I've done it with a few clients, I've had incredible feedback where for like 2-3 weeks they're still feeling the effects. But within that, I was taught yoga nidra in a very different way to what I'm now teaching, because it, again, like I was saying, I feel like it's taught for, or when it was first created, it was taught for a different world to what we're in now. Our brains are so busy. If you go into a class or a massage as an example, or I'll talk from personal experience, but I'll usually have battled traffic. I'm probably running a little bit late. I used to never get facials because the amount of lists I would be making, I would never relax. And so what I've tried to curate is how can I make your mind slowly start to switch off, knowing it's not going to happen? So I do all these little activities in the beginning before I make you lie down and relax into it. So I think, as my sister always says, she's brilliant. She's like, all of these forms of healing have been created from someone at one part of time. It was always created, so you can find your own way and create it. And if that speaks to people and people feel amazing from it, then you're doing something right. And it's always, going to adapt and grow.
Are there a few techniques that you put your community or your class, whoever that you're working with? Because again, like you said, we're in this constant state of high energy. How do you start, for example, a class? How do you, what do you say or do? Or
So I always want to welcome everyone when they come to the class. If I don't do it, I have an incredible twin sister, Morgan, who are doing a lot together. And what I'm curating and building is bringing her more into it. So we always want to make sure everyone's welcomed, everyone understands what they're getting themselves into. I'll introduce the class, tell them a bit about what's going on, what the theme is, because I always love to theme it. And then we do some light stretching and some aromatherapy. So that's very much from the beauty side as well, is working with the different senses. So distracting your brain at the beginning already. And with aromatherapy, I always like to use at least 2 different oils and allow you to smell each one and see what you're attracted to, so that it starts to settle your body. And I think the beauty of Yoga Nidra is, as much as you're lying down and you're going into this meditative state, if your body needs to rest, your body will rest. If your body needs energy, your body will have energy from it. So you can do it in the morning, afternoon, or evening and get incredible healing from it. And
do you have to be in a class guided, or is this something that our listeners can practice at home?
You can absolutely practice at home. I mean, that's the beauty of a lot of healing. It is online now. I always do think it's better in class. So I use these incredible sound bowls as well.
Nice.
Alchemy bowls from Crystal Tones, and they the vibration that comes off them is unbelievable. Like, I beg anyone who doesn't believe in it to just put their hand in as I'm playing the bowl, and you just feel the vibrations, like, instantly settles you. And so much so, when I'm practicing at home, all of the dogs come upstairs and they lie next to it.
I can see that. And I'm curious on the subject of being an empath, or for our listeners who tend to feel like they're more sensitive. How did you find yourself? Because I have my feelings towards this, but being in like a political corporate environment versus now in your own thing for the last few years, like, how do you find yourself thriving? Because sometimes corporate environments, you can learn a lot, you excel, you get everything on your resume, and you meet people, very important people, but sometimes you absorb political energies and stuff going on. So tell us about that experience and the difference on your personality type, how you're thriving differently.
I think corporate is an absolute, I almost do want to say it's a must, because I think you learn so much from being in these offices. You learn so much from the people above you, even if it's just watching how something functions. But for me, being in a room with so many people and people coming and going all the time, it just isn't necessarily good for my energy. And I think once you've paid your dues, you can then pull back a bit. But if I hadn't done corporate, I wouldn't be anywhere where I am today, and I wouldn't have had the contacts and the ability to then go freelance. So I think everything we were discussing, it's really about putting my health first. And if I'm having a really bad endo flare up, I know that I can take 3 hours off in the morning, sleep, heal myself, have a hot bath or something, and then get back onto work and work till 7-8 o'clock at night. I mean, currently with the launch as well, we can work till 10 o'clock at night if we're on, a creative buzz. But I just don't, especially in creative industries, I just don't think that forcing people to sit at a desk from like 9 to 6 p.m. is conducive to good work. I know a lot of people thrive in an office environment, but just for me, and I know a lot of women as well, like this, like we said, our rhythms don't flow with it.
No.
If I'm having anyone that's had like a bad, time of the month, it's just absolute torture. You're just sitting there like trying to survive. And instead of actually like listening
it's
to your body.
counterproductive, really. You're not
Completely
working. And I'm
counterproductive.
realizing in this conversation, because I'm also part of it, is like, it's incredibly privileged for us to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to get out of this corporate environment now, whether it's the means to start your own thing or just the timing of your life or whatever's happening. But I think it sounds like you're saying that you advocate for people to try, at least in the beginning, going the corporate route to get the experience, make network, right? And get like pretty much figure out what you like. Because within those corporate experiences, you figured out that niche that you were good at and what gave you energy, basically.
And it is the safety net of a consistent paycheck as well. If we break it down to something really tiny, as freelancers, I didn't, and my sister had her own business. So I was really lucky when I left that she understood the freelance world and running a business and everything that came with it. But I didn't understand like not having that guaranteed paycheck at the end of the month and paying and sorting out visas and all of the, even how much your Gmail costs and all of this side of things. So until you're ready for that, corporate's also brilliant as well if you're, I would never say no about not going back to corporate, because at the same time you can, I think a lot of companies are changing their ways. You just need to find a company that's right for you. So a lot of people are able to work from home a lot more. That's opened up, and it's sometimes the stability that you need in your life. Like I have a lot of friends who have actually gone freelance and then gone back into the corporate world, and it's a brilliant step, like what corporate can offer you in terms of safety and also growth. And a massive thing with freelance, it's so weird. When you're in corporate, you kind of see the ladder that you can climb, and it's quite nice because you're like, well, I want to get to that next step and I want that promotion. But when you're working by yourself, you kind of are always looking for the next
dopamine
paycheck
hit.
or dopamine hit, and you can achieve something brilliant, but you don't always take the time to go, wow, I did so great. Like I have some amazing creative friends who do these incredible projects and sometimes don't even tell us about it. So when I'm catching up with them, they'll be like, oh, I just did a massive brand deal with this and did this. And I'd seen it on Instagram or like a website or something. And I was like, you did that? I was like, that was amazing. Why weren't you telling everyone and screaming from the rooftops? And they're already on to the next 2 or 3 projects. Or as a business manager, when you're worried about paying bills and paying stuff and you're looking after them, I think you don't always take the time to appreciate your wins. So that's something really great about corporate, when you have a really brilliant team around you and a supportive company.
And you're kind of nurtured. Like if you are in that state, especially right after college, you need someone to guide you, and you have those appraisals, you have teammates, you learn from other people's mistakes. When you start your own thing, which we all have been in these shoes at this point, it's very hard. Like you need to be at a state of your life where I think you're more settled and having like your own gratification. You're not looking for others to feel validated because you're not getting those appraisals. You know your own self-worth. Like, am I doing my best job today?
Yeah.
Or am I not? Could I do better? Where can I do better? And it's up to you to take those emotional intelligence courses, leadership courses, to sit with your sales team, whatever it is. But it's actually a lot of self-discipline, and not everyone's meant for it. And that's valid. It's not a yes or no thing.
Yeah. And we all go through stages as well. We're like this.
Yes.
So just
you
some
can also
stages
go
in your
back.
life, it might be. Yeah.
You never know.
Foundation, like preschool is a foundation, prepares you for high school is a foundation for college. Corporate is, if everybody has the chance to do it, highly, I mean, really, I advise people to do that.
Yeah.
It just builds such a solid foundation, even if it's not meant for you. It just builds such a solid foundation as to how just business works around you.
Yes. Work ethics.
It's just work ethics, how to talk to people professionally, how to just build simple things, how to write an email, how to do a business plan, simple things that we are not taught in school.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, unfortunately, it's just experience. But how now, with this new identity shift that has happened within you, how do you view work now? Your work life before this shift, now your work life. How do you manage your days?
I thought I was working hard in corporate. I thought I'd be like able to take an hour by the beach or something. I think it's hard right now because we're in launch stage. And so we really, truly are 8 a.m. wake up, 10 p.m. We're lucky if we're putting our laptops down. So we're definitely do as we say, not as we do. But the aim of that, and we see the end of it, hopefully, is to then get ahead, and have a bit more work-life balance. So it really is trying to, I think a massive thing with editorial as well and being a journalist, I want to go out and find stories. And for that, you need a bit of time and a bit of flexibility. And there's a lot of events and a lot of meetings and everything you need to do, and they happen at different times of the day. So I want to have that flexibility where I can wake up. If I've had a bad, especially it just all goes back to chronic disease. Like anyone who's dealt with it or dealt with chronic pain, it's just having that flexibility of the day and the month. If I can't achieve anything at 9 to 10, then I can move it back. So just the flexibility.
The luxury of doing that. That's amazing. And I'm curious actually with shedding old skin. I mean, you obviously have parts of you where we don't want to say labeled, but basically you have the fashion beauty side of editor and the glam life to the outside world. But now you're shifting more into the wellness side with your Beautilist and just with your practices of yoga and everything. So do you find yourself, I'm curious, ever in the position where you're with your old groups of friends or colleagues or communities and you don't feel like you're identifying or relating with them the same way that you used to because you are evolving into a new skin almost and they might be in the same or in a different path? How do you deal with that?
I think a lot of my colleagues, and like we were discussing, are on this kind of journey with us. So it's this really nice open conversation. It's probably the younger generation when I'm going to some events and I walk in, I'm like, who is everyone? Why is everyone so young? And it's amazing for them because they're in the industry and they're seeing it what we saw 10 years ago and it's so exciting and shiny and new and they want to go to all the events. It's not worrying about being relevant all the time. And I think I used to go to like a lot of events and stuff just to show up, just to show face. And as much as you need to do that for the industry and support brands and all of that side of thing, I think I'm trying to slow down a bit and be a bit more confident and just Alex. And I think that was a really hard thing. And I discussed a lot with people when you leave a big brand. I was Alex at Vogue. And to drop Alex at Vogue and just be Alex was one of the scariest steps I had to do. But now seeing it come back around and kind of building my name for who I am, there's nothing more empowering than that. And I have a lot of friends that have actually done that.
I think it's beautiful to have that self-awareness of like, I was attached to this name, I had this identity, but now I'm my own person. And it comes in our decade of age. I think like this is the kind of time where we start to shift of like, what's my purpose here? What am I good at? What drives me? And what am I known for? What like with your, you know, empath personality or other like facets, how can you help your community around you? And it's beautiful at this age to already have realized, okay, these are my strengths. How can I make that into a business? But a business that I feel that I can help the community.
Yeah. I think one thing I have to note as well, I'm still contributing to Vogue. So I have like, I'm so beyond lucky to have that ability to still write for them because I'll always love it.
Yeah,
like
of course. It's
a
part of you at this point.
My soul. And like every time I see it pop up, like a little tag come up or my articles, it just feels so good to be part of that and tell the little girl like you achieve this and you're still writing for them, and it's
part of
an
your
incredible
pie.
Platform. Yeah,
I always go back to this
Yeah, it
pie
is.
because
It will
this
always be
pie
there.
will always be there. That okay, you were an editor at one point, but doesn't mean that you can never erase something from that pie, right? Because you were born whole, and it just keeps. I mean, you cut the pie however you like, but it's always there. And that connection will forever be with you. It was just so beautiful.
And it's so nice to have the ability to pitch the stories that I kind of want to do. I work with some amazing people. So when I pitch to them, it's the stories that like I want to write. And then having this other platform, I can then build
You have
it
more
out
authority.
there. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful for the listeners to be, you know, if they're stuck in this rut of, let's say they're working in a job that they're not 100% motivated at or kind of feeling stuck or not sure where to go. I think it's beautiful to give them that motivation that all three of us started somewhere and we've used those experiences not to completely shed like what we were saying, that the layer of skin, but take from those connections and slowly build on that to get where we are today. Like I've had a few different businesses, as you guys know. And while I don't call them failures, but they were definitely learning experiences. And I think I took a lot of positives out of those to get me to the current, you know, my main business is Loris Organics, the distribution company, clean skincare, you know this. And then now, of course, with this, I find that they're all building on each other because it's becoming authentic to what I stand for.
Yeah.
My interests are coming through and what I've learned skill-wise, whether digital marketing or just marketing from school, whatever. Now it's coming to fruition, but thankfully I'm finding it to be a more more easy flowing path because you, like we were talking about, maybe it's manifesting in the way that it's supposed to now versus if I did the same exact thing with you guys 10 years ago, I would be speaking complete gibberish like in my 20s, maybe different person, different timing, right? So we need to be where we are, like just meet yourself where you are when you're meant to. Nothing's permanent.
And not niching, you don't have to jump and do it straight away. The biggest thing is I was doing these courses while I was still there. So it's not, you don't have to make these scary decisions all the time. And I think on Instagram, it's always like niche, niche, niche. You can be everything you want to be at one time, like build out the time for it. It's not always going to be perfect and you're not going to be the best at everything. But if you start to like, if you have an interest in doing hypnotherapy, find a course, try it out. Like
hobbies are okay too.
You don't have to just suddenly quit your job and have no money and be terrified. Don't do that.
That's what
terrible
I did.
idea.
Yeah, that's like, so that's one way that we don't do.
Do not do
She's the wrong example. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you made it. You're good. You're great. But it's a harder way.
Without a job.
Always have that option ideally. But I think give yourself that luxury to try things out. There's no such thing as failure. If you're privileged to have some kind of savings or backings, like that's also something to keep in mind. Jumping ship and not having a plan in any way is also a little risky. So it's that perfect balance and having fun at the end of the day. It is about playing and laughing and getting proud of yourself. And you were just telling me that you were tearing up, right, when you figured out something that happened. I think, was it when you got the Vogue email or it was you were just so, you let yourself relish in that. No, it's actually something more recent. I don't know if you can say it yet.
Yeah, I can't say anything yet.
So something amazing happened to you within your new venture and you're just like, is this real? Like this is actually working for me and your hard work is paying off, but let's take a moment to celebrate that. Or else, what's the point of all of this?
And we never do. I think we're so hard on ourselves.
Go, and this culture.
And it's not just a post. We like post something nice on Instagram and then it's gone.
And it's gone.
It's gone after 2 seconds. People move on. So this is
a big thing for us with Beautilist. So we're trying to tell stories. So we're calling it conscious content meets community coaching. So we're trying to slow down the pace of how we're consuming. So everything we're being told right now is, oh, you need to post every day. You need to do this. You need to do that. And we're like, the average woman isn't actually reading editorial or going onto a website every single day. So we're trying to tell stories across a few different posts and tell different aspects of the story. So you really go in depth into a brand or into an activation or whatever is happening rather than just things flying away. We're trying to
so the way you can digest the information is different. It's like that will definitely be unique because we're always in a rush or like we have multiple tabs open, kids screaming next to you. So as we wrap up the episode, yes, I wanted to get into some rapid fire questions that are super fun and we can get to know you on a little deeper level, but also have fun with it. Tomorrow I can go with it. Yeah.
These are fun questions, one word, nothing serious. So if you had to delete all but one app from your phone, which would it be?
The moon app. I'm obsessed with I just love looking at the moon.
Oh my God, you guys can be best
with the moon app. We're going to be doing this with Beautilist as well. We go into the moon meanings and like what you should be expecting. And it's all the different signs as well. Like I was never a huge horoscope person.
I'm obsessed.
Until I started doing it with all my friends.
For me.
And now I'm like, that's my next step. Astrology is coming
Listen,
soon.
on a quick note, because look at all of the ancient civilizations, like Egyptian, Mayan culture, they literally built structures based on astrology.
So I wanted to be an archaeologist for the Mayans before Vogue. That was my big thing.
In another life.
That was me carrying around the National Geographic and then I swapped it.
Very different vibe. But I'm
still a magazine.
I'm obsessed with the unknown and with the ancient histories that have been kind of, covered. I just want to understand where we come from and how life has evolved and what can we learn from them. Okay, next question. So, okay. What is a non-wellness trend you're surprisingly into? Non-wellness. It could be super bad for you.
Super bad for me. I am like a massive geek. Like I love fantasy novels. Like I absolutely love Lord of the Rings, Hobbit.
Oh, Harry Potter, like all those vibes.
I like Harry. I'm not a Harry Potter. Like I like it. I'll watch it probably once a year. But
really, I wouldn't guess that about you.
I'm actually writing a book on the side, and this is terrible because no, it isn't terrible. It's another piece of the pie.
Yes,
I'm cutting it very thin a lot. But I wrote a book when I was like 7 or 8, but wrote it all in the wrong tense, and it was obviously quite terrible. And I still have this concept in my head. So every time I visit, it's something to do with nature, but a fantasy novel. And every time I'm in nature, I create these lands when I'm there. So yeah, massive
I
geek.
love you. That's
Fantasy
so
novel coming
cute.
soon.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
I mean, someone chewing next to me.
There's a
can't.
term for this.
Yes, there is.
I can't.
There is a
Myco
term.
something. So on another note, what is your most used emoji on your WhatsApp?
The palm tree.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't know. I send palm trees a lot to people and
The nature.
turtles. Yeah, all the nature stuff.
Every animal, like we say hi.
And like the guy with the party hat and the tree.
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's
yes.
cute.
Always like life's a little celebration.
Yeah,
I
that's
love an
positive.
emoji.
I'm the
Yeah.
either clapping hands or prayer.
So
always
you,
do
by the
that.
way.
I don't know.
Yes. Oh, last one before we go into the last deeper one. So what's your dream travel destination right now?
Costa Rica.
Oh, same.
Or Galapagos, but that is a little
Yeah.
bit too
You-
far and we
yeah,
need a
you
lot of
belong
time.
there. You
I wouldn't
belong
come
there.
back.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the fear.
Costa Rica looks beautiful. I've never been.
We did South America last year and it was before we were having babies. It was like, we're going to do South America and then we'll talk about kids. And we just fell in love. We did Peru.
Beautiful.
Unbelievable. Like the energy there is the people, the food, everything.
Full
We
of
did
life.
Machu Picchu, blew my mind. And then we
Yeah.
went to Argentina and did Buenos Aires and Iguazu Falls. Fell in love with it.
For our final one.
Yes.
What is one word to describe the woman you are becoming?
Whole.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
There's like no
It is.
explanation
It's the
needed.
pie. It's whole. Like I think there was gaps that I was looking for, and now
That's perfect.
I hope.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Just quickly, I actually do really want to know yours. What are yours?
Well, I guess you took it, but but I guess motherhood is
Yeah.
is the next one for me.
Next big chapter, next big adventure.
Exactly.
For me, I would probably say peace. Like just content. I've said this before, just content with whatever happens to me, at me. Like it's just for me because I'm learning from every experience. So I'm at peace with where I'm at. And this is where I'm meant to be right now. So yes, I love that for all of us.
love it for all of us.
Thank you
Look
for
at
coming
us.
on. I think
Thank
this
you
was
for
super inspirational.
Thank you so much for coming on.
And how can people reach you to find out, the Beautilist news and just, your whereabouts, follow you?
So Beautilist, BEAUTI, LIST, beautylist.com. Coming in, well, hopefully it will be published by the time this goes live. And then at Beautylist on Instagram, and then Alexandra Venison.
Quick one, are you ever looking for writers or interns to work with
Yes,
you?
we are, yeah.
There might be some listeners that are that are very
Absolutely. No,
interested.
and if anyone ever needs advice or anything as well, I'm so open to helping anyone on their journeys too. I actually just did a nice talk in a school and I was writing to some of the kids there because I think, again, in school, you get so boxed in.
Yes.
And there's so much opportunity and you might think you're on the right path, but it's just
I think
leading
moral of the
somewhere
story
else.
from this episode is do what feels right at that time
Yeah.
because you don't know how that's going to help you 10 years later.
Exactly.
You have no idea, just go with it and you don't need to know every answer.
Exactly.
Yes. So yay, this is exciting. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
And good luck. You
much.
guys are doing such
Oh,
nice.
and you too. Thank you.
Thank you.